Well, tonight we have someone who is claiming to do just that. He has worked for National Security Agency, NSA, with above top secret clearance, specializing in electronic warfare. He also has extensive experience in automated industrial control systems, as well as an extensive background in computers and advanced electronics. He has dedicated his life to exposing the works of the elite from a technological standpoint, and has achieved a unique status which enables him to commit a vast amount of time to research complex and demanding subjects. He is here tonight to discuss his study into the events leading up to the disaster at Fukushima, and to offer a well-researched opinion on what the future holds for Fukushima, Japan, and the rest of the world. Now, there's a lot of documents going here. It's not just someone who is channeling an angel or who's going to say that they worked at Area 51 and then just come up with a bunch of stuff. He has a lot of links to information, pictures, diagrams to back up claims, and I've looked at it. It's very good. And so those who are by computer, I would really recommend going to our website, feet2fire.com, scrolling down to see where the guest information is, because I have a link that goes to his website that will talk about it. Now, who is the his? Well, it is Jim Stone. It is a pseudonym because, well, when when you're coming out against the system, you perhaps don't want to give him your Social Security number process. So that is what we will call him. And welcome to the show, Jim.
Oh, I thank you very, very much, James, for offering me this time to have a voice. And I welcome all the guests, and especially, the people who have surfed my website and have waited to hear me in person. Right. You said earlier that there is going to be a new type of warfare and a new type of terror, and I have concluded that they have given up on the terrorism angle as far as Arabs and masked men coming to get you, and they are instead going to forward their agendas by the false flag terror in the name of the environment, be it an earthquake, a tornado, any kind of a disaster that they can blame and get control. Because it really doesn't matter if an Arab does it or if a tornado does it. If it puts you in a dire condition where you need them to provide the solution, you're at their mercy, one way or another. And so this program is going to be a little bit different probably than anything you've heard. And my comment is that, it took these people 300 years and trillions of dollars to build a theater of darkness, and it only takes the light of one match to burn it down. So please pay attention to what you hear here, because we are in a dire situation. And I'm just going to get going. The first thing that we need to see here is the gravity of the lies, how massive they are that we've been told, just about this one simple event. If there's one event that can show you how big the lie is, it is the disaster at Fukushima. They've got all kinds of experts on the air, and it's all just a lie. The website, just in case you can't find it on James's site, is jimstonefreelance.com. And when you get there, you're going to see a whole bunch of links, and I'm going to go through these and explain to you what they mean. So the very, very first... I was just
going to do that. I was just going to suggest that we give them the webpage, and you did it. So, okay.
Yeah, it is jimstonefreelance.com.
All right.
And I've sacrificed the homepage for this, for a few hours for this program. Now, the very first thing I'd like you to look at is a link titled number 1. It's Vanished Reactor. And when you open this, you're going to see a diagram issued by the U.S. government for a training manual on the type of reactor that's at Fukushima. So it's an official document that I pulled a comparison diagram out of. as you can see in this document, there's supposed to be a tin metal roof on the top of this reactor that's been completely blown away. And down inside here, we have 2 stories of reactor sticking up that is missing in the picture to the right-hand side, which means what you're looking at here, these people are still talking about containment. They're still talking about reactor pressure. They're still talking about trying to restore things and make everything all nice and pretty. Well, every single thing that their experts have said is a lie, and they have to know it's a lie. Granted, this is a classified photo that a physicist posted on Pink Tentacle of the exploded reactor, but they ought to have been able to figure this out by now, because these have been online for a little over a month now. So if they're still talking about reactor containment, there is no containment. There's not even a reactor. And I had these photos, at least the 1.1, which is Unit 3's core spray system, out in the open. If it is, it means the reactor's guts are blowing out and laying everywhere. If you click on that link, you're going to see something that came off of drone footage that aired in Japan. And it looks to me like we have the remains of a reactor that's still trying to cool itself. And I mean, and these systems are extremely robust. They hold up really well despite no matter what you put them through. A reactor, there's been a lot of riffs on the GE boiling water reactor and nuclear power plants in general. But believe me, when we're talking nuclear power, we're talking something that is really, really made extremely well. And so you can blow things to pieces and they'll still function. And what we have here is obviously a spray system of some type that is still functioning. That's just laying in the debris.
This is the next picture, right? This is the next.
Yes, it's in the next picture.
Okay.
And obviously, it's not functioning at full capacity, but it is still functioning. So from what it looks like, the water was getting circulated through the fuel rods. I don't know exactly how this reactor works. I have a really good idea. I've spoken to reactor operators, it's a long story, but I've really paid attention to this subject. I don't know exactly what this is that we're looking at, but I hypothesize at least that it's the remainder of the guts of the reactor laying out in the open, because that is the color of the fuel rods that go in it. It's about the right scale, all those bent things. It's pretty spooky. Now, if you click on one thing that the media has lied about completely and misrepresented completely was the scale of this disaster. First of all, if you go back to the picture number 1, and you look at that reactor and the way that building is exploded apart, the fuel pools are completely gone, and that means that we have thousands of tons of plutonium laying everywhere outside that facility. They have never told us about this. They've never been honest about this, but it's obvious when you look at that diagram that the fuel pools are gone. Where did that fuel go? Well, if you I'm sure you all saw the mushroom cloud. That's a photo that's coming up. Well, actually, it's on the bottom of the
right, it's right underneath it. Yeah.
Photo. It's down there at the bottom. You can see the mushroom cloud that thing made. Now, if you look at this picture of the destroyed facility, this is picture number 2. This is also a classified photo, and I haven't seen anyone else have this anywhere. But you can just go online and get it at Pink Tentacle. And make sure you expand this because it's an extremely detailed photo that lets you see exactly what's going on there. If you look up on the very top of the photo, it says, "This car shows you how big this all is." And it looks like a flipped-over pickup truck or SUV that's laying there, and it's just this little teeny tiny thing. And what I did to show you the scale of the disaster was I took Photoshop and I copied that car or vehicle, and I pasted it on top of Unit 4's reactor dome, which is Unit 4 had been disassembled for refueling, so the explosion there, had been disassembled for a shroud replacement. The boiling water reactor has a stainless steel shroud on the inside that has problems with cracking, and most nuclear facilities will just weld those cracks, but Fukushima was really a well-maintained facility. So they had decided to go ahead and replace the entire reactor shroud. And so the fact that that reactor is in pieces is just because it's been disassembled.
Yeah, but then it exploded anyway, though, didn't it, or no?
Well, yeah, it exploded because that's where we're getting down to the.
Okay.
Yes, there was whatever happened at reactor 4 was the equivalent of building 7 on 9/11. There's no way that this particular thing could possibly happen.
This reactor was actually powered down and not running at the time.
It was powered down and disassembled. The core had been pulled, and they were actually replacing the lining on the inside of this reactor that has a habit of cracking, and when it does, it can cause fuel rods to stick. It's something that they know about, but it's never happened. So all these nuclear facilities maintain this very well. It's just in the specs where if it does this, it can stick. Anyway, so this reactor was just an open tube. There is nothing in there at all. No core, no uranium, no nothing, no steam separator. It was completely disassembled, and it exploded anyway. And so how did that happen? Well, we'll get into that later. Now, if you look at down here on the right-hand side, where you can see Unit 3 completely blown away, I've also taken that car and I've laid it on top of, it looks like a Suburban or something.
Yeah.
I've laid it on top of that wall. And if you look at that, you can see how thick those walls were that got blown away. Now, they're trying to tell us that hydrogen blew these massively built structures apart, which just isn't plausible in any way. There's no way that hydrogen is going to be doing this. Hydrogen produces what's called a non-ideal subsonic explosion. If you take a perfect oxygen and hydrogen mix, your shock wave cannot exceed the speed of sound. And if it's an air hydrogen mix, the shock wave is even slower. Now, if you seal that shock wave off so that it has no place to go, it can develop pretty high pressures, but certainly not enough to blow concrete like that. And every single one of these buildings had just basically a tin roof over the top, and that would have provided a path for the hydrogen for the expansion to go. There's no way that this could have happened. Second of all, if you look at the white stack there, those white stacks, you can see it's the listing is this hydrogen stack was installed after 3 Mile Island to get rid of hydrogen in emergencies. These stacks need no electricity to function. The blasts were not caused by hydrogen. What these are is during the 3 Mile Island incident, they had the zircon cladding in the fuel rod caused the hydrogen to be separated from the oxygen. In other words, beyond a certain temperature and pressure, the oxygen just wants to stick to the zircon rather than the hydrogen. And the zircon cladding is just in the fuel rods to isolate your fuel. So it's because uranium with plutonium, I don't know if there's oxidation issues or what, but it's a coating that they put on those pellets to keep the fuel preserved. Anyway, these vents were installed after 3 Mile Island because at 3 Mile Island they did have a hydrogen explosion also when they melted down their reactor. But that explosion at 3 Mile Island basically just scared employees. It didn't cause any kind of damage to the facility. Even still, the nuclear industry is really, it's a really careful, really well-run industry, and they will do things that are way overboard just for the absolute safety. So what this stack does is it's hooked up directly to the vents on the reactor, and if there's any kind of a problem with that reactor, where it does produce hydrogen, this stack takes it directly outside.
Let me stop here for 1 second. Is that an ongoing question is going to be coming? Is that if I'm in the nuclear industry and I build nuclear reactors, I'm going to know what you're saying. So I'm going to look at this and go, wait a minute, there's something wrong. Just like when the buildings collapsed in 9/11, if you build those type of buildings, you're going to go, wait a minute, that shouldn't happen like that. And yet,
yeah,
so now it's like there's going to be people in the nuclear industry knowing this and sitting back going, oh boy,
Yeah, well, they are to a degree, but what they're saying is, well, there's no way this could have happened. They must have just run the thing like a piece of garbage. But I have confirmed there's a nuclear. It's one of the links. There's a nuclear agency that oversaw Fukushima, and they said that that place was maintained like you wouldn't believe, that the Japanese engineers were excellent,